It's the weekend. Hello, welcome to Business Live. Coming up tonight, as many businesses collapse as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, courier services are in high demand. We'll be in the US, where a Ghanaian courier business is making it big. Also tonight, we explore how shortage of maize may be impacting on trading on the Ghana Commodity Exchange. Plus, a mad rush for fabrics for school uniforms following the president's announcement of reopening of schools. We hear from some retailers who are cashing in. Thanks for being with us. Details right after this break. Welcome back, everyone. The year that passed, the year 2020, was a difficult one for many, especially businesses globally, with many black businesses in the U.S. struggling to stay afloat. Sanam Esinam Afenu visited a Ghanaian courier service in the U.S., where she reports, unlike many businesses which are near collapse due to the pandemic, Rapid Aviation is rather making it big with a delivery service to Ghana in just 3 days. Here is her report from Atlanta.
Dr. Dollar Entertainment.
Meet Samuel Amwating, a Ghanaian based in Atlanta, US. Having lived in the US all his adult life, Sam has been in the courier service business for decades, working for an American aviation company. But the tables turned for him at the time the world and businesses were struggling to survive due to the COVID-19 pandemic. A global pandemic became a blessing in disguise. A part-time business of delivering items back home in Ghana took a different turn. His garage, where he used to store items for shipment to Ghana, could no longer contain the demand for his services, forcing him to move out to an office space. I have come to his office, where he now operates from a garage to this warehouse. With a staff strength of about 5 here in the US and 3 back home in Ghana, Sam has now over 500 active customers.
I started my aviation training with Lufthansa. Other major European carriers work for American carriers like American Airlines. And along all these lines, my goal was to do something on my own, be it passenger service or cargo service, because I've done both. So this business was pretty much established in, I would say, 2004, 2005. But it has been a challenge, We've crawled until now. So 2020 was a good year for us because the COVID made people unable to travel. So goods and services had to move, and that has really boosted our cargo operations.
Currently, Rapid Aviation ships to 9 African countries, namely Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Ethiopia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Mali, and Kenya.
Our business model is that we do everything and then you pick up. It's a courier operation, so we have to do everything. So we have a team in Ghana that goes through the customs processes.
Sam tells me his dream is to make Rapid Aviation a global business, as well as inspire Ghanaians abroad to take up challenges.
People are enjoying the service. We do, I would say, between, for now, 200 to 400 on average a week. Yeah, and we haven't started.
I know. So, the next, let's say a year, I don't want to give you much here, so in a year, where do you want to see Rapid Aviation?
We want to be a force in the industry. We want to let our people know that they can rely on us. We want to give them a service that they can afford, that they can be happy about, right? And there are other services that we want to do, like baggage courier. Okay, what is happening is that most often people will want to wait till, let's say you are here, I hear you are going back to Ghana, can I give you a suitcase? We don't want people to wait till somebody is traveling. Anytime you feel like you want to send things home, you want to be available and make sure you get that service.
The coronavirus has upended the world's businesses, with many going bankrupt while others struggled to rebound. According to the New York Fed, COVID-19 crisis has wiped out nearly half of black small businesses. The number of black business owners who were actively working fell 41% from February through to April 2020, compared with an overall drop of 22% in active business owners across the U.S. Indeed, 2020 is a year many will detest, but for Sama Martin and his Rapid Aviation Group, a dream has just been birthed during a global pandemic. Sandra Sinapini reporting from Atlanta in the U.S.
All right, so because of the pandemic, people can't move, so they would usually want to do the courier services. And so let's move to the subject of travel. Now, some good news maybe, expect more cheaper travel options in the middle of the year, and this could be dependent on how quickly COVID-19 is dealt with globally. That's according to aviation expert and former Chief Operations Officer of Africa World Airlines, Shawn Mendes. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, let's take a look at some of his projections, the top 5 trends in air travel space for this year. We want to pull up those details for you. The first being that biosecurity is here to stay. The second, domestic and regional travel will see a boost. And then the third, self-service technology will become more prevalent. Number 4, there will be cheaper travel options. And 5, catering is on the way out as people focus more on the need for sanitary travel. All right, let's get some further explanation from aviation expert Shawn Mendes, who spoke with my colleague Charles Aite earlier on the marketplace.
Biosecurity is the current buzzword, and I think, it's already becoming pretty much a standard when you are traveling. You think of getting your air ticket, you think of getting your passport, your visa, and now you're thinking of getting your COVID test or your vaccination proof or whatever other biosecurity protocols are going to become required for international travel. And this will vary across different countries around the world. So I think that is a trend that is going to be here definitely for not just 2021, but beyond that. And, it's not something that may seem as a huge change for people in Africa, where we've been used to traveling with yellow fever cards and things as such. But I think on a more global basis, this biosecurity documentation and the proof of biosecurity is going to become a integral part of the travel experience. Interesting. Domestic and regional travel to see a boost? Well, I think, we've already seen this. Domestic travel is a lot easier. Regional travel, if you're just going from Nigeria to Ghana, for example, is a lot simpler right now for people to travel closer to home within their home countries or neighboring countries than it is to be traveling long haul. If you're right now, a lot of the traditional tourist markets, such as Europe and North America, are still essentially closed to international visitors, while markets close to home, no matter which country you're in, most countries are open to domestic travel, and there's plenty of opportunities for people people in Ghana to explore the north, to explore Takoradi, to explore all sorts of things. And I think domestic and regional air transport will get a boost from that. Are we going to be expecting some new entrants? I think there's always going to be the potential for new entrants where a good opportunity exists. I know a lot of people are talking about entering the market. The business case definitely exists for people to do well in airlines in Ghana in the near future. It's how well people can execute on that. Great. Let's now end on this very good note. Cheaper travel options. We know AFTA is here. Briefly, if you could explain to us what you mean by cheaper travel options for air travelers. Well, I think the key to this is when airlines get back to their pre-pandemic schedules, or at least begin to grow back into that, there's going to be a lot of empty seats. The demand is not going to recover until the supply is put into the market. So the people who move first, those who are willing to travel as soon as borders begin to open and so forth, will have the ability to take advantage of some very good deals that undoubtedly are going to be out there. We've seen Emirates do this already with offering hotel stays and stuff for visitors to Dubai, and I think you'll see this with a lot of airlines, a lot of governments who will incentivize travel by reducing fares, by reducing taxes, and getting people back and moving again. So if you're ready to move, there's some very good deals coming to you probably in the middle of 2021.
Great. And that was Charles Aite speaking earlier with aviation expert Shawn Mendes. Joining me now is Radia Adama Sani, who is CEO of Moontouch Travels Limited. She is a travel and tour operator. Just to discuss further some of the things that you heard Shawn Mendes say, great to have you on the program tonight, Radia. And so we'll come to the issues about air ticketing and cheaper travel options in a bit, but you're just returning from Dubai with a group of Ghanaian tourists, I believe. Tell me about your experiences over there amid the pandemic. How different was that experience? If you could unmute, Radia.
Hi, Daryl, can you hear me, please?
I can hear you now, Radia.
Hi, good evening to your viewers. Actually, we just returned from Dubai last week with a group for the Christmas holidays. And before setting up for the travel, many people were actually a little bit scared because of the COVID. But we went through our COVID test in Ghana. Thank God, everyone was actually negative. We embarked to Nairobi through Kenya Airways. We had a nice city tour in Nairobi, of course, with protocols of the COVID observed. Everyone in Nairobi observed that the mask was actually compulsory there. And then it was very safe to be in the city of Nairobi. And we continued to Dubai. The story was not different in Dubai. In fact, the only time you find yourself without mask in Dubai is only when you are about to take a picture or actually when you are eating. That's the only two ways by which you can actually stay a minute or two without your mask. And so right now, it's rather even much safer to travel because actually if you are stuck in your country, you never even get to know your status at all. But if any travel comes your way, you are compelled to do the test and you are very sure that you are negative. You are actually mingling with everyone in the flight that are also negative. Of course, you can't be positive and even get to travel. And so the fact that many people think COVID should rather prevent them from traveling, I think this is the time we should rather even encourage travel because this is just the best way you can get to test for COVID after all.
Right. So your point is that it's safer to travel now than it was before. But I guess for some people, it's the cumbersome nature of it, the fact that they have to go through rigorous testing one country and the other. And I was speaking with some pundits a few days ago who were saying that, the fact that Ghana has even tightened the testing regime would be a discouragement for travelers. Do you share in that perception?
Actually, traveling in general has become difficult for every country, not only in Ghana. And when you look at the COVID rules that have been set by Ghana Aviation and the Ghana Airport Company Limited, you realize that even there are certain countries that the rules are even more strict than in Ghana because the Ghanaians traveling only get to experience two types of COVID tests when you are leaving Ghana and also when you are coming into Ghana. There are certain countries like Nigeria, when you are in Dubai and you have to go back to Nigeria, you still have to do the test in Dubai before you set off. When you get to Nigeria, you still do the test before you come out. So at the end, you get to do like 3 or 4 different types of tests. So I think that our rules here are a bit flexible. People just argue with the prices of the COVID test. But then when we got to Kotoka last week, we actually spent about 10 minutes doing the test. And trust me, it was a very smooth process, very, very quick and accurate. And I think that these are the kind of things that we should look at instead of just generally thinking that traveling has become more difficult this period. There's no denying fact that it's true traveling has become a little bit difficult.
Right.
But come on, we can't keep being in our rooms forever or in our houses forever.
And you seem very upbeat about the prospects for this year. Not so many people think the same way as you do. But let's talk about air tickets, because that's the point I wanted to make. You listen to Shawn Mendes there. He talks about the fact that in the middle of the year, he expects that people will have cheaper travel options, because then, hopefully, because we have the vaccines, people will be hoping to travel some more. To my surprise, and I just got really surprised when you told me that, I mean, the situation right now is not making airline operators reduce airfares, you are telling me. And so how do you see things panning out in future?
Actually, before the reopening of the borders, the general expectation was that prices of tickets were really going to be extremely high because of the loss incurred by the various airlines during the pandemic period. Most airlines had to lay off staff, and then a whole lot of other things went on. But thankfully, when things started, the airlines were, excuse me to say, a little bit reasonable with passengers. And then they did not use it as an opportunity to increase prices abnormally. Everything still fell within the same range of travel. And as we speak, the further the airlines try to reduce the prices, then the more they'll intend losing, because the passenger volume is still not very high, even in this 2021 by projection. But here's the case where even if just 30 passengers an airline has to take to travel, they also spend the same amount of money on aviation fuel. And remember that aviation fuel is also on the rise now. And then the cost of operations, ground handling, and everything else. Remember that the airlines have also got extra costs now because of the same COVID protocols. They've got to get sanitizers and a whole lot of other materials on board, which is also an extra cost to them. But nonetheless, we're still optimistic that by getting to the ending of 2021, prices of tickets may come down a little bit. And it would mainly be due to competition from the various airlines, because the little passengers that are available now, every airline is trying to grab them. And so the only way the price will reduce would be because of competition reason. And not because of passenger volume, actually.
We'd have to leave it here. Thank you so much for your insight and perspective to the issue. I appreciate that you could join us, and welcome back to the country. Radia Adamasani, CEO of Muntad Travel Limited. Now, the country is currently having to deal with shortage of maize. There are fears this could impact on the prices of food such as your favorite kenke or banku. Let's understand the impact that is also having on trading on the Ghana Commodity Exchange. Chief Operations Officer Robert Owu joins me via Zoom to discuss this. And great to have you on the program, sir. So we heard news about the shortage of maize towards the end of last year. What's the situation currently?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. Yes, there was seemingly shortage of maize, and I say seemingly because if you look at the projections that were made for the year, of course, due to the rainfall pattern that changed, and also due to some influx or some change in the trading patterns at the farm gates, it wasn't possible for the volumes projected to be achieved. And so there seems to be a shortage in the system. On the Ghana Commodity Exchange, we realized that a lot of the buyers looking for quality tend to us to try and get sellers who will sell those commodities to them. And we realized that the volumes that were being offered by the sellers were actually higher than volumes that we had previously even traded. The only difference was that the Ghana Commodity Exchange, being a facilitator and therefore does not determine the prices, had challenges being able to facilitate trades between the sellers and the buyers, because the sellers were quoting very high prices due to demands from not just Ghanaian traders or processors, but also traders coming from neighboring countries who were offering high prices for the commodities and were willing to pay in cash whereas the processors in Ghana had to, resort to more on the traditional way of buying, which was on the credit side.
Okay, but how have things changed over time? Are we still facing a similar situation as we were towards the end of last year? Has it improved?
Yes, prices are still very high. I mean, beginning of December, we were trading at 77 cedis per bag. Currently, as I speak to you, prices have gone as high as 95 cedis per bag. And although prices are going up, our processors also need the commodities, and therefore the demand on these commodities are also increasing day by day, and therefore it's becoming increasingly difficult for our processors or buyers to also be able to meet the demand. As I said, the shortage or seemingly shortage that we're talking about is really not a shortage in terms of the commodities not being out there, but just because the prices are so high that our processors or buyers are not able to buy those commodities at those prices.
Okay, so help me understand it. This is not about the fact that the food item is not available, but because prices have gone up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm saying.
And so what's causing the prices to go up then?
Yes, because what's causing the prices to go up are a number of reasons. One being the influx of traders coming from neighboring countries who came into the market and went as close as to the farm gates and offered farmers prices that are quite higher than what the normal buyer or processor in Ghana would have offered. Now, if you understand the dynamics of the market, our buyers buy from aggregators and then they process their commodities. But in buying them, most of them buy on credit and then pay these farmers off at a later stage. But in this case, these traders were going directly to the farm gate and then offering money directly to the farmers, at higher prices. And therefore, there was demand on the commodities. And so a lot of the farmers sold off their commodities at those high prices. Some of them also anticipating that the prices of the commodities are likely to go up, further than what it is, are also holding on to their commodities, hoping that they will be able to sell at even higher prices than they are selling now.
We just have about a minute on this one. So we know the impact of this on the price of food, such as kinky, right? Because if the price of maize is high, it's potentially going to affect how much I buy kinky or what goes into preparing banku. Robert O, with the Chief Operations Officer of the Ghana Commodity Exchange. You're watching Business Live. Are we turning to the schools? I guess so. Now, Joy Business can confirm that there is a mad rush for fabrics used as school uniforms as retailers are cashing in on the high demand. There is more in this interaction my colleague has had with retailers in the Central Business District of Accra.
We are here to buy materials for our children. School has to resume and we must prepare towards that. This shop sells materials and we came to buy for our children. I've been here since 6 o'clock.
Since 6 o'clock in the morning?
Since 6 o'clock. It's a long queue. You could see the queue.
I came as early as 6:30. So I was in the queue till I got to my turn. And I entered.
When you went inside, how was the cost of the material you wanted to buy?
The cost, the plain is 28, the designed one, the checkered one is 30 cedis.
I'm here because of school uniform. I came to buy school uniform for my children. It is very stressful to get it because a lot of people are there running for the uniform. That's why.
Yeah, it's crazy out here. It's just a who they obey your car. Sisi ayakasa your car. Mabre, because about to my Kolana Kesie, Obiaba send the buy Kesie, the children are becoming so big. It's a man customers and about too much. But for our parents, no, almost too much. Yeah.
So looking at the close down of schools, how did they affect you?
It was so sad because we were all hungry and the money wasn't coming. There was no sales. Nobody was buying uniforms, so we were all sitting here. But see how they are there to say, Nana, we'll be a school now.
Well, that gentleman shouldn't be complaining. At least people are buying his stuff right now that schools are reopening. That's it for Business Live. My name is Darokwa. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Enjoy your weekend.